The night Emma Caldwell vanished, everything seemed normal. She was supposed to meet someone. She never showed up. No calls, no messages, no signs of struggle. Just a young woman, full of life, disappearing without a trace. At first, it looked like a simple missing persons case. But as investigators dug deeper, they uncovered a web of secrets, jealousy, power, and betrayal that pointed to something far more sinister. Because Emma Caldwell didn't just disappear, she was taken, and the truth behind her final moments would shock everyone. Emma Caldwell was born in 1992 in San Diego, California, into a picture-perfect family. Her parents, Richard and Susan Caldwell, were well-respected real estate developers, known for transforming the city's skyline with their luxury condominiums. Emma, their only child, was adored and spoiled from the moment she was born. She had everything: private tutors, exotic vacations, and a wardrobe full of designer clothes. Despite her privileged upbringing, Emma never flaunted her wealth. She was warm, kind, and had a magnetic personality that drew people to her. At school, she was a straight A student and a star athlete, excelling in swimming and track. Her life seemed like a fairy tale to outsiders, but behind closed doors, not everything was as perfect, it seemed. Richard Caldwell was a strict, overbearing father. He dictated every aspect of Emma's life, from the schools she attended to the friends she was allowed to have. Susan, on the other hand, was the picture of quiet submission, rarely opposing her husband's harsh rules. Emma loved her mother dearly, but resented her father's control. At 18, Emma was accepted into Stanford University to study architecture, following in her father's footsteps. She moved to Palo Alto, excited for a fresh start, but as much as she tried to escape the pressures of her family, they followed her. Her father expected perfection and nothing less. During her second year at Stanford, Emma met Daniel Hayes, a fellow architecture student from a modest background. Unlike Emma, Daniel had worked hard for every opportunity in his life. He had a brilliant mind, a charming smile, and a rebellious streak that intrigued Emma. They quickly became inseparable, spending long nights in the studio, sketching designs, and dreaming of a future together. But Emma knew that if her father found out about Daniel, there would be consequences. Richard Caldwell had made it clear that Emma was expected to marry someone from their social class, someone who could uphold the family's prestige. For months, Emma kept her relationship a secret, but secrets don't stay hidden forever. One evening, her father arrived at Stanford unexpectedly. When he saw Emma holding hands with Daniel outside the library, his fury was uncontrollable. He pulled Emma aside, his face red with anger. "This boy will ruin your future," he hissed. "You will end this nonsense immediately, or I will." Emma was devastated. She loved Daniel, but she had seen what her father was capable of when he didn't get his way. Out of fear, she broke things off with Daniel, cutting off all communication. But heartbreak has a way of haunting the soul. After graduation, Emma returned to San Diego and reluctantly joined the family business. She designed breathtaking skyscrapers, but her passion for architecture felt hollow. Her life was carefully curated: lavish galas, business meetings, and an engagement to Ryan Lancaster, a wealthy entrepreneur her father had chosen for her. Ryan was everything her father wanted, a man with power, money, and influence. But to Emma, he was cold and controlling, much like her father. She felt trapped, suffocated by a life that wasn't hers. Then, out of nowhere, Daniel reappeared. It started with a message: "I never stopped loving you. Do you ever think about us?" Emma's heart raced. She had spent years convincing herself she had moved on, but deep down, she knew she never had. Against her better judgment, she agreed to meet him. Their reunion was electric. The years apart had changed them, but their connection was as strong as ever. They started seeing each other in secret, meeting in hidden corners of the city, whispering about a future where Emma could be free. But someone was watching. Late one night, Emma received an anonymous note slid under her apartment door. "End this affair, or there will be consequences." She felt a chill run down her spine. Had her father found out? Had Ryan? Or was someone else following her? On the night of September 18th, 2023, Emma was supposed to meet Daniel at their usual spot, a secluded cafe near the harbor, but she never showed up. Daniel called, no answer. He texted, no reply. By the next morning, Emma's phone was going straight to voicemail. Her apartment was empty, her car still parked in the garage. Her credit cards and bank accounts remained untouched. It was as if she had vanished into thin air. Her parents were the first to report her missing, but their behavior was odd. Richard Caldwell held a press conference, shedding no tears, only offering a cold statement about Emma's irresponsibility. Susan sat beside him, her face pale, her hands trembling. The police launched an investigation, scouring security footage, questioning friends and family. Daniel became the prime suspect. He was the last person known to have contact with Emma, and his history with her made for a compelling motive. But then, something changed the course of the investigation. Security footage from Emma's apartment building revealed a disturbing detail. The night she disappeared, a black sedan had been parked outside for hours. At 11:45 p.m., Emma was seen exiting her apartment, looking over her shoulder nervously. She got into the car, and it drove off. The car belonged to Ryan Lancaster. When confronted by the police, Ryan claimed Emma had come to him that night, saying she wanted to clear things up before their wedding. He insisted she left on her own, but his story had holes. Investigators dug deeper, uncovering damning evidence. A security guard from Ryan's estate reported hearing a woman's screams that night. Ryan's housekeeper admitted she saw Emma's purse in the trash the following morning. Then, a search of Ryan's lake house turned up Emma's engagement ring, hidden in a drawer. The walls were closing in on him. 1 week later, Ryan fled the country. Authorities launched a manhunt, tracking his movements across Europe. Meanwhile, Emma's body was nowhere to be found, until a hiker made a grim discovery. Buried in a shallow grave 20 miles outside San Diego lay the remains of Emma Caldwell. The autopsy revealed she had been strangled. Her nails were broken, signs of a struggle. She had fought for her life. Ryan Lancaster was arrested in Switzerland 3 months later. He was extradited to the U.S. and charged with first-degree murder. During the trial, it was revealed that Ryan had hired a private investigator months earlier to follow Emma. He knew about Daniel. He knew about the affair. His ego couldn't take the humiliation. If he couldn't have Emma, no one could. But there was one final twist. As the trial neared its end, Daniel received an anonymous letter. Inside was a single line. "You think Ryan acted alone?" The case was closed, but the mystery wasn't over. Daniel read the note over and over, his hands trembling. The trial had painted Ryan Lancaster as a jealous, vengeful fiancé. But this letter suggested something far more sinister. If Ryan hadn't acted alone, then who else had played a role in Emma's murder? Daniel took the letter to the police, but they dismissed it as a hoax. Perhaps a cruel joke from a stranger seeking attention. But Daniel couldn't shake the feeling that someone, somewhere, was still watching. One night, he returned home to find his apartment door ajar. Inside, nothing appeared disturbed, no signs of a break-in. But when he stepped into his living room, his blood ran cold. On his coffee table sat an old photograph, a picture of Emma. But it wasn't just any photo, it was one that had never been released to the public. It was taken years ago, back when they were together, back when they were happy. Scrawled across the bottom in red ink was a chilling message. "You were never supposed to be part of this." Daniel felt his chest tighten. This wasn't over. Somewhere out there, someone still had secrets to keep. Someone who had been pulling the strings all along. And they weren't finished yet.